Welcome to Battle Axe, postseason edition. I'm Joey Danya alongside Bobby Bradford at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque, Iowa. It's the most wonderful time of the year. We're about to crown a champion here on Battle Axe. 14 competitors will compete in the bracket to crown one champion here on Season 3. If you're just new to the program, let's explain how the scoring works. On that outermost ring, it's worth 1 point. Moving inward, it's worth 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the bullseye is worth 6 points. On the outermost ring, you'll see those small blue dots. Those are for what's called a kill shot. If a player goes for a kill shot and hits the blue dot, they get 8 points. If they miss, they get no points. After 7 weeks of competition, here is a look at the bracket. The top overall seed is Matt Bradshaw. He's unbeaten this season. We'll see if someone can take him down here today in the postseason. The number 2 seed is Chris D'Onofrio. He also has a bye heading into the first round. Everyone else will compete in that first round to see who moves on to the second round. And keep in mind, this is a double elimination tournament, so even if you lose, you're still alive. You'll fall to the loser's bracket. First up, we've got Sarah Fitting taking on Hannah Brussell. Brussell and Fitting set to go here. We are ready to get this postseason started, Bobby.
Our first matchup of the postseason, Joey, and it should be a good one. Sarah Fitting versus Hannah Happy Feet Brussell.
5, Sarah.
A nice start there by Sarah.
4, Hannah.
It is a 5 for Sarah Fitting, a 4 for Hannah Brussell. We're underway in the postseason. Fitting bringing in a record of 11-13. Brussell 13-10. This should be a good one.
Absolutely. Sarah doing a great job this season, and Hannah, as we've talked about
5,
before,
Hannah,
much
bullseye,
improved in
Sarah.
her game. Tremendous bullseye there by Sarah Fitting, though, to take a 2-point lead going into the third throw.
Fantastic start here for Sarah Fitting. Both of these competitors had nice seasons. They were very consistent throughout the season, and they're looking to build off of what they just did this season and make a deep run here in the postseason.
Absolutely. Any of these players can beat anybody in this tournament, and their goal is just to stay consistent, stay in that consistent 4 to 6 ring. No mistakes, no threes on the board.
It's a 2-point lead for Sarah Fitting after 3 throws.
A nice throw there. Looks like a 4. We'll see if it's hit a little bit of 5.
4, Sarah. 5, Hannah.
A nice 5 there by Hannah Brussels. So cutting the lead down to a 1-point lead here.
Throw. Sarah's up by 1 point.
Hannah, of course, adopting the nickname Happy Feet, so to eliminate the foot faults that she had plaguing her early in her career.
Yeah, and she's done a tremendous job at eliminating those foot falls.
5 and 6.
What a
Speaking of
throw
tremendous, the tremendous bullseye there. So knot this one all up at 24. Heading into the turn.
Great start thus far. It's going to come down to the final 5 throws here between Fitting and Brussell. We are set to go for the second half.
Oh, just a devastating 3,
Sarah,
and it looks like a
Hannah.
bullseye for Hannah. Wow, how quickly things can turn here in Battle Axe.
Yeah, all of a sudden a 2-point deficit for Brussell is a 3-point advantage with just 4 throws to go now.
Hannah with an opportunity at a unicorn. We'll see if she can start off a tournament
4,
right,
Sarah,
and it
bullseye,
looks like
Hannah.
she does.
Hannah Brussell ate her Brussels sprouts this morning. A unicorn for Brussell. All of a sudden, she has a 5-point lead.
Yeah, just ice in her veins does Hannah Brussell have, and just a tremendous job to throw a unicorn to take the lead of this thing. Now she's got to put it away, though, as
4,
we've talked
Hannah.
about before.
4, Sarah.
So a couple of 4s. Sarah Fitting cannot afford to trade points here with Hannah Brussell. She's got 2 throws to go, and she's got to make up a 5-point deficit.
Well, and each player now we've talked about as the weeks have led up to the tournament, Joey, they're not really worried about their record. They want to just put points on the board.
4,
Now you got to be
Hannah, 5,
worried about
Sarah.
your record, though, because once you hit that 1 loss, you're down in the B bracket, and you got to work your way back.
Last
So
throw. Hannah's up by 4 points.
I'd be interested to see if Sarah's aggressive and goes for a kill shot, maybe.
She picks up a point on her 9th throw. She's down 4. Doesn't look like she's going to go for the kill shot.
Does not, so she's going to look to stay consistent.
Sarah,
Nice
5,
throw by
Hannah.
each player.
All right. Good game.
That'll do
was
it.
45,
Hannah
Sarah,
Brussell with a
49,
5 puts it away. She beats Sarah Fitting 49 to 45. Well, a slow start for Hannah Brussell, but she really finished strong.
Really turned it on there from the 5th and through the 7th throw. Nice unicorn there to create a 5-point lead at that time, and then she did a good job of maintaining it to cruise along into the A bracket. And Sarah, of course, will fall down to the B bracket, have to work her way back, but we've seen competitors do that before. So we'll see. She's got a tough road ahead of her, though.
She had a nice consistent round, a lot of positive things she can carry into the loser's bracket. As for Hannah Brussell, she's going to try to stay in that winner's bracket. Here's Hannah Brussell on trying to do just that.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I hope that I can stay in this part of the bracket and really try to get out of my comfort zone and play people that I don't usually do so well against, but I'm excited to see where this league season takes me, so we'll see.
Well, Hannah Brussell gets the win in our first postseason matchup. We've got a lot more action still to come, and we're going to bring you our next postseason matchup right now after we take a look at the updated bracket. Hannah Brussell moving on. She's going to get the top overall seed now, Matt Bradshaw, in the second round. Elsewhere, Casey Nines is victorious in the first round over the 12 seed, Nancy Kramer. Time now to bring you our next postseason matchup here on Battle Axe. Let's get to it right now. Stephanie Prine is set to go against Casey Bullseye Buell. Casey Buell took a couple of seasons off. He got back into it this season. He's here in the postseason looking to make another run, which we've seen him do before.
Yeah, Casey struggled to kind of get the game started here a little bit. There's a 3, so he's kind of following in that same footstep, but he's got to eliminate that and just focus on the board. He knows that he can throw. He's gone deep in this tournament before, so he's just got to turn it on at the right time.
Stephanie Prine, very fortunate that axe stuck into the wood there. It was awfully close to not landing, but she gets a 4 out of it and a 1-point lead after the first throw.
Doesn't. Looks like Casey threw a 5-0, but it's called a 4, so the top of that axe hitting the 4 ring. And to your point, Joey, we've seen Stephanie kind of have trouble with how that blade hits the board, causing her to have that blade just kind of barely sticking into the board, and sometimes, unfortunately, for her to fall.
Yeah, and here in this postseason, there's just no room for error.
There's no room.
You make one fall, one axe that doesn't stick into the wood, and it's going to be awfully hard to come out of that hole.
Exactly. And so we're all tied up here after 3 throws. But, yeah, to your point, Joey, again, yeah, every point matters. Very little room for error. You cannot rely on your opponent to make a mistake because they're coming with their A game. And right on cue, man, Casey Bullseye Buell.
For Stephanie, Bullseye Casey.
So the first bullseye of the match goes to the man we call Bullseye.
Bullseye
Bullseye Buell with a 2-point lead over Stephanie Prine.
Casey with a nice progression, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's see if he can continue the good throw, and it looks like he does. It looks like a bullseye from here, Joey.
I believe it is. It is a bullseye. Back-to-back bullseyes for Buell. He'll have a 4-point lead heading into the second half and a shot at a unicorn.
So we've seen some mistakes from Casey in the past. It's important for Stephanie to continue that consistent throw. She has been throwing nothing but 4s. Looks like a 4 there for Casey Bullseye Buell. And the pink lady looks like that might be hitting the 3 there, which would be unfortunate.
See if it's a 4. It is not. It's a 3, and indeed another unfortunate situation there for Prine. She's down 5 points now.
Yeah. And for those of you just joining, the blade has to appear on each side of that ring. So, wow, Casey with just a devastating mistake and good throw by Stephanie to capitalize and pick up some points here.
A big 2-point swing there for Stephanie Prine makes it a 3-point lead for Casey Buell.
So Casey knows he made a mistake there. He left the door open a little bit. Needs to refocus, and looks like he did a good job there with the 5. And we'll see again, that blade has to be seen on both sides. So don't know if that's popping through on the 4 side. And it is not, so that is called a 3 there for Stephanie Prine. And unfortunately for her, her little bit of a comeback is stalled, and she's got some work to do.
Just like that, it's back to a 5-point lead for Buell. Just 2 throws to go. That one looks like a 4 for Buell, and it's a 4 for Prine as well.
Yeah, so again, we'll see if she's going to be aggressive going for a kill shot or if she's just going to be satisfied to go down to the B bracket. Casey just happy to trade points, just put the axe on the board.
At this point, Casey just looking for a throw to land and get some points. Prine not going for the kill shot. That's going to do it. Casey Buell gets the victory by 5, 44-39,
44
the final score. Well, Casey Buell really had a nice round there. He had back-to-back bullseyes to build that 5-point advantage, and he never let it slip away.
Yeah, it was a slow start for Casey, as we've seen him do in weeks past, but a good job to recover a couple sixes there in the fourth and fifth throw. But those 2 threes that you see on the board there, Joey, if he's going to make a deep run, he cannot have those on the board. So he's got to fix that going into his next matchup. Stephanie's going to go down to the B bracket and have to work her way back up, and we'll see if she can do it.
She's going to have to eliminate those threes as well if she wants to stick around for a while here in this tournament. We've got a lot more action still to come here in the postseason. We'll bring it all to you straight ahead on Battle Axe. Welcome back to Battle Axe here on MC22 at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque, Iowa. I'm Joey Danya alongside Bobby Bradford to bring you all of the action from this postseason here on Battle Axe. We are set to crown a champion here today. We've got the majority of the first round in the books, but still 3 matches to go. Let's take a look at the updated bracket here for the postseason. Earlier, you just saw Casey Buell advance over Stephanie Prine. Buell will now face the 3-seed Casey Nines in the second round. Chris D'Onofrio and Matt Bradshaw have buys into the second round. Bradshaw is going to take on Hannah Brussell. D'Onofrio is awaiting the winner between the matchup of Eric Schizel and Brandon Feenstra. And that's the matchup we're going to bring you right now. Brandon Feenstra set to begin his postseason against Eric Schizel. Schizel and Feenstra touching tips for good sportsmanship. We're set to get this postseason match started right now.
Really excited for this matchup, Joey. We've seen Brandon make deep runs in the playoffs before. And, of course, the last season that we we saw Eric be crowned champion. So
the big difference for Eric Schizel this time around, he's throwing with his left hand. He had an injury to his throwing hand in the offseason, but he's been able to really play competitively with the left hand, Bobby.
Yeah, I don't think we can overstate it enough. It's just tremendous how he's been able to compete. A nice 5 there to cut the lead to 1. Brandon with a nice start with the bullseye in his first throw. Brandon's just got to keep working on his consistency. He's got to find that bullseye ring and just stick in it.
But you know, Eric Schizel's getting stronger each day with that right hand. You would assume in the next season he'll be back to throwing with the hand that he would like to be throwing with. He's got the cast off, and he's playing well here. He's down just a couple of points. Brandon Feenstra off to a nice start here.
Yeah, Brandon really focusing on that bullseye. We'll have to see that. Kind of looks like a 4. We'll see if it's popping through on the 5 ring, and it is. So trading points with Eric to maintain a 3-point lead. Excuse me. Going into the 5th throw. See if Eric can respond here. He knows what the pressure feels like in this tournament. No mistakes.
Bullseye,
Ooh,
Eric.
and that looks like a nice bullseye.
For Brandon.
So it is a bullseye for Eric Schizel, his first of the matchup, and it gets him within 1 of Brandon Feenstra. They'll switch sides and get set to go here for the second half.
Yeah, and something Brandon struggled with is maintaining that lead. You know, when he's going up against an opponent, it's maintaining that lead.
Eric.
Keeping the pressure on. Nice bullseye there for Eric, just barely hitting that bullseye ring, but it's a 6 nonetheless. So quickly, Eric has a 1-point lead over Brandon.
And a shot at a unicorn here with his 7th throw.
Brandon's just got to forget those bad throws that he has, focus up on that 6 ring, and he's just locked in that 4 ring, unfortunately.
For Brandon, for Eric.
So Feenstra and Schizel trade points on their 7th throw. It remains a 1-point lead for Schizel with just 3 throws to go.
Well, and as we progress with the brackets in the tournament, Joey, we're going to see that these 4s are actually considered mistakes by some of the top players. So when they make those mistakes, like throwing a 4, you really have to capitalize on it. And again, you just cannot have that if you're trying to come back versus a player like Eric.
This could be a bullseye for Eric Schizel, and it would be a huge one. It is. It gives him a 3-point lead now with just 2 throws to go. Brandon Feenstra shaking his head.
Yep.
He knows this one is starting to slip away. He's going to have to get real hot here on his final 2 throws.
Yeah, and then, something to take when you go into, the B bracket. If he loses this game, you have to maintain that consistency. He's had some really good throws. He's got to just learn how to maintain it.
So a couple of fives
All
from
right, this is your
Feenstra and
last
Schizel.
throw.
It's a
Eric's up by
3-point
3
lead
points.
for Eric the Scope Schizel. We'll see if Feenstra goes for the kill shot here to try and pull out a victory.
Yeah, you could see maybe he was thinking about it a little bit. I mean, it's definitely plausible. He decides to throw it at the board. It looks like a 4 here, but definitely could have done that, at least tied it up with Eric throwing a 5 here.
Yeah, so far we haven't seen any of these
All right,
competitors
Vicky.
get aggressive
46
with
Brandon,
the
50
opportunity to
Eric.
go for a kill shot. Eric Schizel gets the win, 50-46. He's moving on in the winner's bracket. Feenstra will drop down to the loser's bracket.
Yeah, he's going to go down to the B bracket, but he had a really nice start, did Brandon, in this matchup. He had a couple 6s in his first few throws, just kind of lost it a little bit. But if he can kind of regain that 6th stroke and kind of find it out throughout the tournament, he could be someone that can really make a run. Just a great job by Eric, though. Did a really good job of maintaining a consistent 5-6 throw. A couple 4s in there, a few 4s in there. But 50 with his left hand, not too bad.
Very impressive. He put in 3 bullseyes to get to the round of 50. He's going to move on in the A bracket. As for the B bracket, that's where Brandon Feenstra is heading. And I shouldn't be calling it the losers bracket, Bobby, because there's no losers here on Battle
Yeah,
Axe.
they're still alive, and they can still make waves here in this tournament. So
Let's take a look at the updated A bracket. Matt Bradshaw will take on Hannah Brussell in the second round. Casey Nines will take on Casey Buell. Chris D'Onofrio will get his postseason started with a second-round matchup against the 7-seed Eric Schizel. Brian Fitting advances past the 13-seed Gina Feenstra. Fitting is awaiting the winner of Cody Yoakum against Matthew Haas, and that's the matchup we'll bring you right now. Cody Yoakum taking on Matthew Haas, here to wrap up the first round of action.
yeah, first time actually seeing Matthew Haas here in Battle Axe. Good thrower, though.
Format.
And, of course, we've seen Cody a few times here as well. Really consistent, one of the top competitors in this league for sure.
Matthew Haas, that name might sound familiar, and it's because he is the grandson of Big Jim Haas.
A legend in the sport is Big Jim Haas. Matthew is his grandson, continuing on the legacy of legends.
5 Cody.
It's a 4 for Big Matt Haas and a 5 for Cody Yoakum. He's got a 2-point lead after the first couple throws.
Yeah, Cody, one of the more consistent throwers in the league, really kind of sticks around that 5 and 6 ring. And just can't have 3s like that when you're going up
5
against a
and
competitor
3
like
Matt.
Cody.
So a big 5 for Cody Yoakum. Nothing but 5s thus far for Yoakum. He's got a 4-point lead.
Yeah, and as you can see, he's getting really close to that bullseye ring there. So he's a couple 6s away. A nice throw there by
5.
Matt for a 5, it looks like. And ooh,
You know, when
And
Matt
then this
throws,
is
he
your
looks
fifth throw,
just like
Cody's
his
on the
grandfather.
fourth.
Exactly.
It runs in the family, the same exact kind of delivery and demeanor.
I think we know who taught him how to throw an axe.
Absolutely.
And I do believe, actually, that Big Jim Haas is in attendance here in the crowd watching all these competitors compete.
So a couple of 5s from Yoakum and Haas to keep it a 4-point game after the first half. Haas and Yoakum switching sides. We're ready to go for the second half.
Oh,
Ooh. Oh, my goodness. Just
Cody?
devastation there for Matthew Haas.
yeah, I was just going to say Matthew's done a great job of kind of keeping this thing close, although, you know, Cody's done nothing but 5s. Devastating drop, but something to look on the bright side for Matt here is that Cody did throw a 3, so there's still a light at the end of the tunnel here.
Matt, 4 Cody.
And that's a good start, you know, kind of eating away at that lead a little bit as you can. Obviously, you're running out of throws, so you got to really turn it on here, but let's see if he can do it.
And that kill shot is always in play. Haas can go for it at any time he would like.
Ooh, it looks like that. You got to see on the left-hand side of that blade, it might be a bullseye for Matthew, and it is. So, again, he eats away. He's another point.
Matthew Haas chipping away 1 throw at a time, but he's going to have to still make up 5 points on the final 2 throws. He's going to need a mistake from Cody Yoakum.
Looks like a 5 there from Matthew.
5 Cody.
5 for Cody.
Matt.
Oh, and it's called a bullseye, so
Wow. Matthew Haas with back-to-back bullseyes.
Last
He's
throw,
got it down to a
Cody's up by
4-point
4
deficit.
points.
We'll see if he goes for the kill shot.
doesn't look like he's electing to go for a kill shot. Does have a chance at a unicorn. Cody just focused on that board, looking to advance in the A bracket. Ooh,
That'll do it. A
Bullseye
nice
Cody.
throw from Cody Yoakum. He puts an
All right,
exclamation
it's
point
42
on this
Matt,
one.
48 Cody.
with a bullseye. Cody Yoakum moving on in the A bracket. He wins 48-42. Matthew Haas heading down to the B bracket.
Yeah, Matthew will go down to the B bracket. Did a really good job at the end of this match. Unfortunately, he had that drop in the sixth throw that really could have changed the outcome of this game. But he'll go down to the B bracket, have to work his way back up, and Cody will continue on in the A bracket, doing a nice job. Consistent 5s, some 4s, 1 6 in there. So he'll have to eliminate that 3 if he wants to keep advancing.
Matthew Haas could have been right in it if it hadn't have been for that fall in the sixth throw. He falls by 6 points. Cody Yoakum moving on, 48, an impressive round, something he can really carry on heading into the next round. Let's take a look at the updated A bracket. It's going to be Bradshaw against Brussell, Nines against Buell, D'Onofrio against Schizel, and Fitting against Yoakum. No upsets thus far here on Battle Axe. We'll see if we can get some upsets in the second round of this postseason.
It should be a fantastic tournament here, Joey. Really looking forward to the rest of the matchups.
We've got much more action still to come. The second round is straight ahead here on Battle Axe. Welcome back to this postseason edition of Battle Axe here at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque, Iowa. I'm Joey Danya alongside Bobby the Blade Bradford to bring you all of this postseason action. The first round is in the books, and we're set to get things going here in the second round of the A bracket and the opening round of the B bracket. Let's take a look at the updated A bracket. Matt Bradshaw has advanced past Hannah Brussell. Also, Chris D'Onofrio has advanced past the 7 seed Eric Schizel. He'll take on Brian Fitting, who advanced over Cody Yoakum, the 5 seed. Just one matchup left to go here in the second round, and we're going to bring that to you right now. A couple of familiar faces here on Battle Axe. Casey Bullseye Buell going to take on Casey Laser Wolf Nines, the classic battle of the Caseys.
Absolute classic battle. These two competitors play each other very well. Always a close game.
They've been going head-to-head since the very beginning, back in Season 1 on Battle Axe.
So Casey with a nice job of throwing a 5 there to start the game. Again, he's kind of struggled starting off games, so nice to see him get off on the good foot there. Looks like a 4 for Casey Nines and bullseye for Casey Bullseye Buell.
So Buell quickly building a 3-point lead over Nines.
Yeah, so Casey's got to find that 5-6 ring here. Kind of stuck in that 4 rut a little bit. There he kind of gets it on and looks a couple 5s for both players.
Casey advanced to the second round earlier with a 44-39 victory over Stephanie Prine. You would think he's probably going to have to do a little better than a 44 this time around to advance.
Absolutely. The axe hanging in Casey Buell's hand just a little bit, throwing a 4 there, but unable to capitalize on it is Laser Wolf here, throwing a 4 as well. So both competitors kind of losing their touch a little bit. But then, of course, right on cue, we get a couple nice throws.
For Buell.
So Casey Laser Wolf Nines with his first bullseye of the match. That makes it a 1-point game. Buell clinging to the slimmest of margins as we begin the second half.
Now, I always wonder with each competitor, when they throw a bullseye on their 5th throw, then they immediately have to shift over to the other lane. Like, is it going to affect them? Of course, it doesn't affect Casey Laser Wolf Nines. They're throwing another bullseye and a chance at a unicorn, but I always wonder if they, get locked into that side of the board, and then they immediately have to switch.
Well, just like that, Nines is out of the hole, and he is the leader now.
Look at that.
Look at that face from Nines.
Doesn't know what's going on.
Can't believe it. It's a unicorn. All smiles from Casey Nines. He's got a 2-point lead now.
Well, and as we mentioned in a previous matchup, Joey, once we start progressing in the A bracket here, we're going to see that these 4s are considered mistakes. So, Casey Buell's not throwing poorly. He's just, not throwing those 5s and 6s like he needs to advance.
He's hoping this one is a 5, and it is. So Buell and Nines Trading points, it remains a 2-point lead for Laser Wolf.
All right, so Buell's just got to focus. Nice throw there. Looks like a 5 for Laser Wolf. And oh my gosh. Oh,
Heartbreak City for Casey Buell.
just something we never see out of Casey Buell. A drop on the 9th throw.
All right, last throw.
Well, now the
9
only
is up by
way that
7.
Buell can get a victory here is to go for a kill shot and then get a big mistake from Casey
I
Nines.
believe he is going for the kill shot.
Nothing to lose here, and
Ooh.
he's off the mark. That's going to do it.
All right. Good game,
Casey
Cody.
Laser
Casey
Wolf
Buell, 49,
Nines
Casey Nines.
takes down Casey Buell 49-38.
The final score here, Joey, is not going to be a good indicator of how well Casey Buell was throwing. Consistent 5s, got a little bit of a 4 right there, but that devastating drop in the 9th throw really eliminated any chance of him ever coming back in this game. Casey Laser Wolf 9s with a nice unicorn there in the 5th through 7th throw. Should be somebody to keep an eye on for the rest of the tournament.
Give Buell credit for going for the kill shot there. It's a situation where you've got to go for it to get the win. Now Buell's going to head to the B bracket, and he's got that postseason experience of what throwing the kill shot is like, so that could pay dividends. Casey Nines here now on the victory.
My second match was against Casey Buell, and him and I always kind of go back and forth with scores, so that one always makes me nervous because we're usually about the same place there. And it was down to 1 point ahead until he unfortunately dropped, so I mean, obviously it's going to put me ahead there. So, but I was nervous, and he was getting the points higher up in the first part of that game, and I was getting a little nervous, but I pulled ahead though.
So we've got our semifinal set in the A bracket. Let's take a look now at the updated B bracket. Sarah Fitting is the 10 seed. She's going to take on Cody Yoakum. Nancy Kramer advances past Stephanie Prine. She's going to take on Eric Schizel. Casey Buell dropping down to the B bracket. He's going to take on Brandon Feenstra. Hannah Brussell is awaiting the winner of the matchup between Gina Feenstra and Matthew Haas. Well, right now, Cody Yoakum is going to take on Sarah Fitting. Fitting and Yoakum set to go here. The winner advances in the B bracket. The loser is going home.
Yeah, we're now in the elimination portion of this tournament here. So the loser does go home.
Bullseye,
Nice
Sarah?
bullseye there for Sarah to start off.
5 Cody.
So I do think we'll be seeing some more aggressive kill shot attempts once a player kind of gets down, or if it comes to that.
So a nice start for Sarah Fitting. A bullseye here in the B bracket.
Pressure not getting to Sarah, though. She's all smiles, which is a good mentality to have when you're in the B bracket. You know, you got to stay loose.
5 Sarah.
And win or lose here for Sarah Fitting. You'd figure she's not going to head home just yet. Her husband, of course, Brian, is in the semifinals of the A bracket.
Brian Buzzsaw Fitting doing a nice job to start off the match. We'll see more of him coming up. But, yeah, Cody Yoakum, he's really got to find that 5-stroke that he had in his first matchup that we saw. Nice throw there by Sarah Fitting to trade points.
Fitting keeping it a 2-point advantage after 3 throws.
Yeah, so you can kind of see a smile there from Cody Yoakum. You just have to be loose in the B bracket. You cannot worry about going home. You just have to play the matchup that you're in. Don't really even mind your competitor too much. Just focus on that board.
And that's just what Cody Yoakum is doing right here. He gets his first bullseye of the match to tie things up at 20 all.
All right, so he's got the bullseye stroke down. Let's see if he can set himself up for a chance at a unicorn. It looks like a 4 there, and oh my gosh.
Sarah Fitting.
Wow.
Can't believe it. She is feeling the frustration there on a 2. You can see the look on her face.
Ooh.
That is a throw that might be keeping her up tonight.
Yeah, well, and as we talked about in the Casey versus Casey matchup, I'm sure she's happy now to switch over to another board after that throw. Oh, and it's another
Cody, 3
off
Sarah.
throw there.
Well, just like that, Cody Yoakum has a 4-point advantage with just 4 throws to go. Sarah Fitting's got a lot of work to do here.
Well, this is just something we haven't seen out of Sarah. You know, she's consistently throwing in the 4s, 5s, and can pepper in a bullseye every once in a while as well, but see if that's counted as a 4. We'll see. Jenny's going to take a look. Oh, and unfortunately, it's a 3.
It's a 3. Just like you said, Bobby, this is not something you see from Sarah Fitting. Perhaps just the pressure of the postseason and facing elimination getting to her just a bit here.
Absolutely. I mean, the one positive for Sarah in this situation is that Cody's not really running away with it, although that's a great throw that he just had there.
4 Sarah.
It's a 4. Could be a bullseye for Cody.
5 Cody.
Let's call it a 5 on the board. If I were him, I'd kind of want to look at that a little closer, but
Cody Yoakum with a 7-point advantage now over Sarah Fitting, which is 2 throws to go.
and if I were Sarah in this situation, I'd go for the kill shot. You need a mistake by Cody for sure, but you need to put some serious points on the board. Oh,
Another throw gets away from Sarah Fitting.
2, Sarah?
Cody Yoakum can taste victory now. He's got a 10-point lead. This one
All right, last
is
throw, Cody's
in
up
the
by
books
10.
here. Just one final throw to put a bow on this one for Cody Yoakum.
yeah, and Cody's just got to focus on that bullseye because he knows he has to face some serious competitors coming up here too.
4, Sarah?
He's got to eliminate those 4s if he wants to keep advancing.
4, Cody.
So Cody Yoakum staying
final
alive
score,
here in the B
38,
bracket.
48, Cody.
Sarah Fitting wrapping up a nice season
Good game.
with an exit a little earlier than she would have expected.
Yeah, Sarah Fitting had a tremendous season. She did a great job all throughout the first 7 weeks to get to this tournament. And just a devastating throw on the 5th and the 9th throw. A couple 3s there in the 6th and 7th. So not something we're accustomed to seeing out of her. Cody did a nice job. A lot of 5s in there, a couple 4s, and 1 bullseye. So he's going to advance onto the B bracket. He's got to work his way all the way back. We'll see if he can do it.
Indeed we will. As for Sarah Fitting, an impressive debut season here on Battle Axe, but it comes to an end here in the B bracket. She'll stick around and see if she can cheer her husband on in the A bracket as he's getting ready to play in the semifinals. But let's take a look now at the updated B bracket. So Cody Yoakum advances to take on Eric Schizel. Elsewhere in our other semifinal in the B bracket, it's Brandon Feenstra taking on Matthew Haas, who's making a nice run as the 14 seed.
Yeah, Matthew's doing a nice little run here to work his way up through the B bracket. Brandon Feenstra with the upset over Casey Buell. So we'll see who comes out of it.
We'll bring you all of the action straight ahead here on MC22. Stay tuned for more Battle Axe. Welcome back to Battle Axe, postseason edition. I'm Joey Danya alongside Bobby Bradford, here to bring you all of the action from the Bustin Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque, Iowa, where we will crown a champion here today. In the A bracket, Casey Nines is set to take on Matt Bradshaw. Here's Nines on going up against the top overall seed with his mentality.
Just the same as I always go against Bradshaw. We kind of go in sync together. We know how each other throw. You know, I'm not too worried about it. Hoping I pull ahead, but we'll see what happens tonight. Honestly, I'm looking forward to the match.
As for Matt Bradshaw, he's competing in national tournaments. Here's the top overall seed on the differences to this league.
For me, it's completely different because I throw with these guys, and obviously you want to beat them, but you also want to be on your best. Whereas on a tournament, I don't know anybody from Adam, so the pressure's a little bit off. So coming into tournament week here, yeah, I get a little bit of nerves, but I go based on the mantra of Ken Griffey Jr. He says if you're having fun, it turns all the pressure into pleasure. So that's what I'm trying to go with.
Casey Laser Wolf Nines set to take on Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. We'll see if Bradshaw can have some fun here in this one. That mantra of Ken Griffey Jr. has worked for Bradshaw thus far.
Absolutely, and it must be tough for Bradshaw. He has the target on his back. He's getting everyone's A game, and as you can see, just a tremendous start there by Casey Laser Wolf Nines, peppering in a bullseye. But yeah, he's facing everyone's strongest blow all the time, so that pressure can add up.
A perfect 29-0 on the season is Matt Bradshaw. Casey Nines looking to be the first competitor to take down the Magic Man.
Looks like a 4 initially. Might be popping through for a 5 at the bottom part of that axe there for
5,
Casey. It's 5 for Matt.
4, Casey.
Ooh, and it's called a 4, so we are all tied up after 2 throws. We should expect nothing less, right, Joey?
Indeed. These two, they've been some of the very best in this league going back to the very beginning, and of course, no surprise to see them here in the A bracket.
Absolutely. These two competitors very familiar with each other. Nice throw there by Laser Wolf. Looks like a bullseye from here.
Bullseye, Casey. 5 to
And the
Matt.
tip of that axe just missing there for Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. Has to settle for a 5, but not off by much.
Casey Laser Wolf Nines with his second bullseye of this matchup.
Doing a really good job of focusing on that bullseye. 1-4, but wasn't off by much. That's a nice throw there. It looks like a 5. Could possibly be a bullseye.
Casey, bullseye, Matt.
But it is a bullseye for Matt, though.
His first bullseye
All
of the
right, this is your
matchup, and
fifth
it ties
throw,
the
and you're tied
game
at
at
21.
21 apiece.
As you can tell with both these competitors, they're not missing by much. I mean, when those 5s are hitting, it's very, very close to the bullseye, so they're in rhythm, they're locked in, and this is going to be a heavyweight matchup here.
Another really good throw there from Nines.
Ooh, and
That
Matt's
one might-
off the mark.
Yeah, that's a 4 for Bradshaw. And as you alluded to earlier, when you get deeper into this postseason, those 4s, they're mistakes. And
Yeah.
Casey Nines really capitalized on the mistake right there with a bullseye to make it a 2-point lead after the first half.
So Matt needs a change of scenery here. Going to switch over to the left-hand side of the board, and Casey not phased at all. Just a dagger of a bullseye. Oh, and it actually closer look. That's a 5.
But it's another 4 for Matt Bradshaw.
Wow, fortunate
Surprising
for
to
Matt.
see this.
Yeah, it's fortunate for Matt that he only threw a 5. I mean, three points, you can come back from it, but it's very tough, especially with the caliber of thrower that Casey Laser Wolf Nines is.
So there is what looks like a 5 for Laser Wolf. It is Matt Bradshaw.
Gets
You
back.
knew he wouldn't be struggling for too long. He throws a bullseye right there.
Yeah, he's not going to be down for too long. Nice way to recover there. 2-point lead for Casey Laser Wolf Nines. Needs to keep the pressure on Matt, though. He needs to stick in that 5 and 6 range. Kind of probably knows that he's in Matt's head a little bit here. Nice throw there by Casey Laser Wolf. Ooh,
Bullseye and
and
bullseye.
a tremendous response there by Matt, the Magic Man Bradshaw. But coming down to a couple throws, Joey, he can't just trade points with Laser Wolf.
Nope. And this is exactly what you would expect in a matchup
your
of
ninth throw.
two heavyweights. They're just throwing
Casey's up by
haymakers, nothing but bullseyes.
Yeah, Matt getting a score check there. He can go for that kill shot if he wants to. I think he's going to see how this throw plays out a little bit. Nice throw. Looks like a 5. Could be ice in his veins.
That looks like a bullseye. It is.
What
we'll
can you
see
say?
what it is for Laser Wolf.
And Casey's just shaking his head.
5 Casey.
He knows. He
Wow.
knows he's left the door open. So
All
down
right,
by 1
last
going into the
throw.
last
Casey's
throw.
up by 1 point.
Tremendous matchup.
Couldn't ask for anything better here this postseason. Nines clinging to a 1-point lead with 1 throw to go.
And I think Matt's actually going to be waiting for Casey to throw. I think we got a call that he is actually going for the kill shot. So we'll see. This is a tremendously bold move for Matt the Magic Man.
Oh my
Casey,
goodness.
0 Matt.
Wow.
Wow.
That was a really good game.
What a game. What a finish.
47 Matt,
Casey
53
Laser Wolf
Casey.
Nines
Wow.
wins a classic here over Matt Bradshaw.
Wow. So one of those things, Matt knew that if Casey threw a 5, he'd have to get a 6 to just tie and then eventually go for the kill shot. Decided to be extra aggressive and go for that kill shot right away. He was close, but not close enough, and he's going to go down to the B bracket in a shocking upset here in the A bracket, Joey.
Yeah, and I think it's a great strategy by Bradshaw there to
Correct.
throw that kill shot for a couple of reasons. Not only does it give you the better chance at getting a victory,
Right.
but it gives him practice at throwing a kill shot
Right.
with everything on the line.
Absolutely. You get those nerves tested and everything, and I'm sure it's not going to be the last kill shot we're going to see from either competitor, and what an exciting matchup.
Let's take a look at the updated A bracket now. Casey Laser Wolf Nines takes down the top overall seed, handing Matt Bradshaw his first loss of the season. Nines now awaits the winner between Chris D'Onofrio and Brian Fitting in the A bracket.
Yeah, so Matt will go down to the B bracket, have to work his way back up. But this matchup between Eric Schizel and Cody Yoakum should be good. We're going to go down to the B bracket here a little bit.
Schizel and Yoakum set to go here in the B bracket. The winner will advance. The loser will head home.
So again, we've seen Cody in this position before, so he's battle tested with this. Eric defeated Nancy Kramer in the B bracket to move on. So both players are probably a little more comfortable right now, Joey.
5 Cody, 5 Eric.
Yeah, you get that first victory under your belt, and you just get a certain level of confidence with it,
Yeah.
momentum, and you just want to keep it going.
The other side of that coin, though, is that you're facing stiffer and stiffer competition as you go along, so you're a little more comfortable, but you have to be a lot more focused. Ooh, it looks like the top of that axe could be hitting the bullseye for Cody. It's not, so it's a couple fives, so consistent throws by each player so far.
Yoakum just missing the bullseye. Nothing but fives here between Schizel and Yoakum.
Yeah, no, as we've seen before with Eric, throwing left-handed, obviously very difficult. We've talked about that before, but it's really his release point. When you can see, when he gets that consistent release point, he can compete with anybody. But when he loses it, and that's just a bad throw there by Cody for a 3, but yeah, when he loses that throw, though, he can really be wild.
His consistency with the left hand has been nothing short of remarkable this season.
Yeah.
It's a really impressive run from Eric Schizel.
Well, and we've seen his scoring, when he's in the 5 and 6 range, it comes in spurts. And, so again, as you can just see there, the release point, when it's a little bit off, he kind of goes from that 5-6 ring, and all of a sudden now we're in the 4 and 3 ring. Now we need to adjust.
Fifth row, you're tied at 17.
But fortunately for Eric and for Cody, they're tied going into the 5th throw.
You can sense the nervousness here in the Bustin Axe Throwing Range.
Yep, everyone's hanging on every throw.
Eric, 5 Cody.
So it's a nice bullseye there by the scope to take a 1-point lead going into the turn.
First bullseye of the match goes to Eric Schizel.
Yell it loud.
With a 1-point lead, he'll look to close things out here in the second half.
Yeah, so something that we haven't seen from Cody coming into the tournament, though, he has hit very few, if any, bullseyes. So we need to see some more bullseyes out of him. Nice bullseye there by Eric the Scope, setting himself up for a unicorn going into the 7th throw. I think Taylor Swift has given him some powers.
Yeah, he's a little closer now to T. Swift after switching sides. We'll see how much that helps Eric Schizel here in the second half.
We do know that T. Swift is his spirit animal, so
5 and 5.
definitely feeling his lead here. 5 and 5 here for both throwers, so a 2-point lead here for Eric going into the 8th throw. Again, Cody's just really got to focus up and hit that bullseye. He needs to put some pressure on Eric here.
Yeah, you can't expect or ask for a mistake from Eric Schizel. Yoakum's going to have to really pour it on here.
4
But
Eric.
that one gets away.
4 Cody.
And you just can't be trading points right now to keep the season alive.
Yeah, and Eric's more than happy to keep trading points here going in a couple throws. We'll see maybe if Cody gets a little aggressive. Maybe he saw the matchup with the Magic Man Bradshaw, if he's going to be aggressive with the kill shot here. We know he's loose with that axe, though. So Eric can smell victory as long as he stays with that consistent release point, and wow.
Cool, calm, and collected is Eric Schizel. Another bullseye,
All right.
and that
final
really
throw,
opens
Eric's up
things
by 4
up. He's got a 4-point lead now with just 1 throw to go.
Yeah.
You'd have to think this is where Cody Yoakum goes for a kill shot.
And I don't know if he's going to be aggressive and go for it. I mean, the season's on the line here. He definitely needs to put some serious points on the board. It's perplexing. I don't know why he's not going for it.
4 Eric. 5 Cody.
Wow.
That's going to do it. Eric
All
the
right,
Scope
good game.
Schizel.
45 Cody. 48
Staying
Eric.
alive and moving on. He defeats Cody Yoakum 48-45.
So, yeah, Cody deciding not to go for the kill shot, kind of relying on Eric to make a big mistake there. But as you can see from that round Eric put up, only the one mistake of a 3 in his 4th throw. So a nice round of 48 for Eric. And as for Cody, yeah, I think that's going to be keeping him up that night, not going for that kill shot with the season on the line.
Yeah, you got to wonder what was going through Cody Yoakum's mind in that decision-making process. Nevertheless, Eric Schizel thrilled with the result. He's moving on, staying alive in the B bracket.
Yeah, maybe it's one of those things where he didn't practice it going through the season, didn't practice it in the practice range, so just not comfortable doing it.
Let's take a look at the updated B bracket. Eric the Scope Schizel will now take on the top overall seed who's playing in the B bracket, Matt Bradshaw. Meanwhile, what a nice little run here from Matthew Haas in the B bracket. He's taken down Gina Feenstra, Hannah Brussell, and Brandon Feenstra. Matthew Haas taking out the entire Feenstra household.
Absolutely. So it looks like Big Jim Haas's grandson is doing a good job here in the tournament.
Much more Battle Axe still to come in this postseason. Stay tuned here on MC22. Welcome back to Battle Axe here on MC22. This is Joey Dania alongside Bobby Bradford bringing you all of the action here in this postseason as we are set to crown a Battle Axe champion here today, Bobby.
Yeah, 7 weeks of a regular season, all culminating to a Week 8 double elimination tournament. Couldn't ask for anything better. Let's take a look at the updated A bracket.
Yeah, there is nothing better than postseason Battle Axe, and here's a updated look at the A bracket. KC9's pulling off the upset, taking down the number 1 seed, Matt Bradshaw, who had not lost heading into this tournament. Meanwhile, Chris D'Onofrio is getting set to take on Brian Fitting. Let's throw it down now to an interview with Fitting for his outlook on this postseason.
I put a lot of pressure on myself. I don't like to lose any of those early games either. You know, there's up until last week where I was just, you know, throwing kill shots or something because the points didn't matter. I don't like to lose anything. So tonight I'll be playing the opponents, and there's a couple of them that you talk to, you can get in their heads a little bit, so I may have to try that.
Brian Fitting looking to do a little trash talk here, Bobby.
Yeah, you got to do anything you can to progress and get to that championship round.
Such a mental game. Brian Fitting looking to use that mental game to get into the head of Chris the Dagger D'Onofrio.
Yeah, so Chris, no stranger to the head games as well. Very focused player. Doesn't really let anything affect him, so we'll see. We'll let the board do the talking here.
We are underway here between Fitting and D'Onofrio, and what a start for the Dagger. It's a bullseye.
A nice start there by Chris the Dagger D'Onofrio and Brian Buzzsaw Fitting, throwing a 4 to get it all started. But again, we haven't seen much of Chris. Chris just doing what he can to plow through the competition. Off there with a 4. And it looks like a 5 for Brian. It looks like that's popping through on the right-hand side. So able to eat into Chris's lead a little bit.
It's a 1-point lead for D'Onofrio. Fitting coming into this one with a record of 20-10. D'Onofrio, the 2 seed, with a record of 25-4.
Yeah, both really consistent players. Again, 5-6 ring. They're kind of living in it. Nice bullseye there for Brian. And a 5 for Chris. So we're all tied up after 3.
Brian Fitting, of course, built a axe throwing practice range in his garage, and it's paid big dividends here in his inaugural season on the show.
Absolutely. Built a couple of them, actually, Joey. So him and Sarah can both practice. And it looks like that's a 5 for Chris. We're going to see.
Bullseye, Brian.
Oh, that's called a bullseye. So it looks like it must be popping through on that left-hand side a little bit there for Brian. Buzzsaw Fitting.
All right, 5th throw. Brian's up by 1 point.
So a chance here for a unicorn on the 5th throw from Brian Fitting.
Yeah, just a nice opening round showing here for Brian Fitting. Chance at a unicorn. Everyone loves that. And it looks like he nailed it.
Brian Fitting is really dialed in right now.
I was going to say we have to look and see at Chris's throw here.
Wow.
Maybe he was popping through there at the bottom for a 5 ring, but a devastating 4. Down by 3 going into the turn. So really has to focus up.
Yeah, you can see the frustration on the face of D'Onofrio. He's starting to feel the pressure here from Brian Fitting.
And it's a 5 for Brian. So initially when Brian threw that, I thought that was a 4, but popping through on the top-hand side, it's in the 5 ring. So 4-point lead. Chris unable to at least keep up with him. So he finds himself in a hole here, Joey.
Yeah, just 4 throws to go. But we know Chris D'Onofrio can get hot in a hurry, but
we do know that.
Not right there. It's another 4 from D'Onofrio.
Yeah, unfortunately for D'Onofrio, Brian threw a 4 as well. But one thing Chris does have in his back pocket, we've seen him do, is he can go for that kill shot. So
4-point lead for Brian Fitting, just 3 throws to go.
I would imagine. So a couple 5s. It looks like it might be a bullseye for Brian. We're going to have to get a look. It's called a 5.
He just missed the bullseye, and that will keep it a 4-point lead for Brian Fitting. 2 throws to go.
Yep.
At some point, you would think D'Onofrio's going to have to go for the kill shot. Brian Fitting is just not going to make a mistake.
Yeah, he's getting
Brian's up by 4.
a point total right now. So
9.
if I know the dagger, like I think I know the dagger, he's going for it. Yeah, so he just called. He's going to go up for the kill shot. Brian with a 4, it looks like initially. Big throw here by the dagger.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
It looks like he might have just missed it.
Oh.
And he did. That is just incredibly heartbreaking, Bobby.
Just devastating. He's down by 8. You can see he's making the call again, so he needs a drop from Brian, something we haven't seen out of him, but I think this is just going to be an experience point going. Oh, and
Wow.
I don't have to look on that right-hand side, and it's called a kill shot, so.
Ooh, if only he had gotten it on his previous throw. Who knows what could have been. But it's not over yet for D'Onofrio. He's going to head down to the B bracket. Brian Fitting moving on, taking down D'Onofrio 49-45.
Yeah, nothing to take away from Brian here. Just a great showing. Kind of fell off a little bit at the end there with the fours, but enough he kind of knew he had the victory sealed up a little bit. So Chris with a nice aggressive move to go for the kill shot in the 9th and 10th throw. Not off by much, so we'll see if that helps him in the B bracket.
I really like the strategy of throwing the kill shot there on the 9th throw opposed to waiting for it on the 10th throw. You give yourself a chance to do it if you need to twice, and if you get it on the 9th throw, then you're right back in it, and you can just throw a normal throw on your 10th throw.
Absolutely, and then you put the pressure on your opponent.
Absolutely. Let's take a look at the updated B bracket now. Eric the Scope Schizel will take on Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw and Matthew Haas, the Cinderella of this postseason. He's going to now take on the 2-seed Chris D'Onofrio.
Yeah, that should be a great matchup, and I'm really looking forward to the Scope versus the Magic Man. Win or go home, that's going to be tough to see either of those competitors leave.
We're going to bring you that match right now. Eric the Scope Schizel against Matt Bradshaw in a postseason matchup where it's win or go home. You can't ask for much better than this.
No, you really can't. Eric with a really nice showing versus Cody Yoakum earlier in the day. Nice initial throw there. Looks like a 4, though.
For Eric, for Matt.
Ooh, and that's really close to a 5 there for Matt, but it looks like it's hitting the ring and not popping through, so a couple 4s for each competitor.
Yeah, Matt Bradshaw, you never want to go up against the Magic Man.
Never want to.
Especially if he's coming off his first loss of the season.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you don't want to be waiting in the wings after an L. Looks like a 5 there for Matt. And Eric just off the mark just a little bit.
5 Matt.
So Matt Bradshaw has a 1-point lead after the first couple throws. These guys not getting into a real rhythm quite yet.
Yep, as we know, like both players can get into a rhythm. When we see Matt get really locked in, that's when he's really devastating to play against. But a couple 4s to start, you have to look at that as a positive for Eric. Oh, just a little too much loft in Eric's throw right now. I'd like to see him be a little more direct to the board with the blade.
Another 5 from the Magic Man to make it a 2-point lead.
Still a 2-point lead going in the 4th throw. I mean, Eric's still in this thing. A lot of throws left. Just needs to find that consistent release point, that consistent throw. And as you can see, Matt the Magic Man's actually starting to dial in a little bit. That's getting closer and closer to that bullseye.
Earlier today, Bradshaw was defeated by Casey Nines, 53-47. Matt would have been north of that 50 mark. He went for a kill shot on his final throw.
Yeah, that's one of those things when you look at the total score, you always have to take into account where they went for the kill shot. Because these players, both these players are the consistent high 40s into the 50s. As we've seen Matt throw 56 before. Nice bullseye there by Matt the Magic Man. And
5 Eric.
I think initially it was called a 4 for Eric, but is popping through on the 5, so.
After one half, Bradshaw has a 4-point lead, 25-21. They'll switch sides, and we're ready to go here for the second half of this one.
Yeah, so if I'm in Eric's position here, I'm going to be
Bullseye Matt for Eric.
quite worried that Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw is starting to turn it on here. So you got to start be thinking about maybe some kill shots here within the next couple throws maybe.
Back-to-back bullseyes from Bradshaw.
And right on cue.
There you go. He must have heard you, Bobby. Eric the Scope Schizel is going for the kill shot. There's a reason why we call him the Scope, and it's because he can really lock in and hit those kill shots. We'll see if he can do it right here. Ooh, awfully close, but it looks like it's off the mark.
5 Matt.
Yeah, so he's
Good kill.
He got it. Got the bottom of that blade into the blue for a big-time kill shot.
Wow.
He picks up 3 points to turn a 6-point deficit into a 3-point one.
Well, and again, as we were talking about the strategy, it's a really good job for Eric to put the pressure now on Matt. Matt's still up by 3, but he's feeling the pressure. He knows that Eric just hit a kill shot. I believe he's going for another kill shot here. So it's just a great strategy by Eric the Scope, and just ice in his veins is Matt the Magic Man.
so fun to watch right now. There's just, you're on the edge of your seat. Can he throw another one? No. That would have been incredible.
That would have been.
But
Absolutely.
that's the risk of the kill shot, just like that.
Throws.
But
The
he needed
Magic
to do
Man
it.
picks up 6 points. I couldn't agree more.
Exactly,
When
yep.
you're going up against Goliath, Matt
Yep.
the Magic Man Bradshaw, no guts, no glory.
No guts, no glory. If he would have hit that kill shot, he would have been down by 1 with 2 throws to go. And then it's just all the pressure is on Matt to perform,
For
and
Eric, bullseye
he's just
Matt.
locked in. Another bullseye chance to a unicorn to end this match. And
All right, last throw. Last throw, Matt's up by 11.
by 11. So, I mean, again, the total score is not going to be reflective of. Oh, and look like Eric is going to throw underhand a little bit.
Ooh.
Wow, so a little trickery here. Nice.
Well, Matt Bradshaw
Fire.
puts an exclamation point on this one with
All
a
right,
unicorn to wrap it up. He gets the victory over Eric the Scope
42,
Schizel, 54 to 42.
Yeah, so you can see Matt starting off with the 4, and then nothing but 5s and 6s the rest of the way. So just he's locked in, scary competitor to run into in any bracket you're in. And again, the total score not reflective of how well Eric was throwing that kill shot on the 7th throw. Really put a lot of pressure on Matt. Unable to hit on the 8th throw, and then kind of, was smooth sailing for Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw after that.
So the Magic Man moving on in the B bracket, a sleeping giant is awoken. As for Eric Schizel, this wraps up an incredible run for Schizel with his left hand.
You know, it was kind of a struggle. I mean, I do write with my left hand, so I am a little ambidextrous, sure. That's, I think, why I was so able to pick it up as fast as I could, but still just not as good. I mean, I feel like I've got a year's worth of practice with my left hand before I can even really compete with anybody. But, we're still throwing with it, and we're still practicing. Hopefully next season, come January, I'll be better with my my elbow with my right hand. We'll be back to throwing like usual. So we'll see how it goes. It wasn't too much of a struggle. Just different axes. You'll see I switched up axes a couple of different times during during the games, during the season, just trying to find what felt good, what was right. So I mean, not too bad, just another day.
Another day for the Scope. We'll see him next season here on Battle Axe. Let's take a look at the updated B bracket now. Matt Bradshaw, staying alive, the top overall seed, will now take on the number 2 seed, Chris D'Onofrio. This was a matchup you would have thought we'd see much later in the A bracket.
Yeah, as we've said before, you never know what's going to happen come tournament time. So, yeah, definitely a matchup that we thought we'd see in the A bracket, but we get to see it in the B bracket. Loser goes home. Should be good.
Can't wait for that one. We'll bring it to you straight ahead here on Battle Axe. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Battle Axe here at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque, Iowa. We are getting closer and closer to crowning a champion here on this postseason edition of the show, Bobby.
Yeah, it's just been an absolutely tremendous tournament so far. Just some really great matches. A lot of fantastic matches still to come, and looking forward to the action.
And in the A bracket, there's only 2 unbeatens left. We're going to bring you that matchup right now. Casey Laserwolf Nines against Brian Fitting.
Yeah, so Buzzsaw versus Laser Wolf, a matchup I didn't expect to see here in the A bracket, Joey, but should be a good one.
Winner of this one will remain unbeaten in the A bracket and earn a spot in the championship round.
Yep, in a really good position. The winner of this game will be undefeated, has 2 losses to give in a championship match, so nice throw there by Laser Wolf for a 5, and a very close call there for Buzzsaw to be a 4.
So a
He's
nice,
actually going to take a look at that, actually, Joey, a little bit.
Would you like Matt to look at
yeah,
it?
you would absolutely
Matt.
want to get every eyeball on that if you could here with everything on the line.
Yep, man, we're in the stage of the game right now where every point matters. And if that blade is ever so slightly hitting that 5 ring on both sides of the blade, that's going to be a 5 and a huge shift in momentum here for Brian.
Look how close that is.
It's so close. It is ruled a 4, but very, very, very close.
Jenny's got a tough job to do, and she's doing it well.
Absolutely. She's very rarely wrong and will always correct a mistake if she makes one.
5.
5 for
Casey.
Casey. That might be a bullseye there for
Bullseye.
Brian, and it is. So a nice response there by Brian Buzzsaw Fitting to tie this one up going into the third throw.
Brian Fitting, a newcomer to this league, but he's looking to buzzsaw right through the competition here, earn himself a spot in the championship.
Absolutely. The league giving Brian the nickname Buzzsaw, I'd imagine because of his throwing motion a little bit. Nice throw there by Brian for a 5.
4, Casey.
I was going to say that looks like it's a 4. So quickly, Brian takes a 1-point lead going into the fourth throw. Casey not off the mark by much. Some consistent 5s to start off the game, so just needs to refocus up. And as you can see, nice throw there by Casey Laser Wolf 9s.
Bullseye, Casey, 4, Brian.
Brian off the mark for a 4.
Laser Wolf with
All
his
right,
first
fifth
bullseye
row.
of the
Casey's up
matchup.
by
It gives him a 1-point lead over Brian Fitting. Taylor Swift still cheering these guys on, too.
Still cheering. Yep, everyone loves T Swift here at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range. And Casey's he's just done a tremendous job throughout the tournament of just throwing consistent 5s and 6s. We haven't seen
5, Casey,
too many
Bullseye, Brian.
high 50s scores from any player yet, Joey, but just really consistent throwing. Nice job by both these players, all knotted up going into the 6th throw.
So they will switch sides and get set for the second half. It's all going to come down to these final 5 throws between Casey 9s and Brian Fitting.
Another nice consistent throw there by Casey.
5,
And
Casey.
Brian might have a bullseye. No, it's called a 5. It's just so tough to see from this angle, Joey, but if that bottom of that blade is popping through that bullseye, if you can see red on both sides of that blade, that's a bullseye, man. You can just see everyone waiting with anticipation, knowing that this is a huge match.
Yeah, such an advantage to win this one. Not only do you
5,
just
Brian.
earn yourself a spot in that championship
Right.
round, you go into the championship not only having to win
You have one to give.
one of 3, exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. You're in a good position. You know, your back's not immediately up against the wall as it would be for a competitor coming up from the B bracket. And as you can see, Laser Wolf just off the mark there. A rare
4 and
miss,
4.
but unable to capitalize is Brian Fitting, so still tied up.
They've traded points now for
You're
the
tied,
last 3
39,
throws.
39 throw.
It's all going to come down to the final 2 between Fitting and 9s. 39 all after 8 throws.
Looks like a 5 there for Casey, and it's always nice to see in this tournament. These players are so evenly matched, and another nice 5 there. So it's going to come down to the last throw.
Last
You'd expect
throw,
nothing
you're at
less, right?
44 each.
This is what postseason Battle Axe is all about. One throw to earn a spot in the championship here between Fitting and 9s.
You hear the crowd go wild. They want to see an exciting end here. So a 5 there for Casey. A bullseye wins it for Brian Buzzsaw Fitting.
5, Casey.
Ooh,
Ooh,
this is
that
very close.
Awfully close.
Wow.
It's a 4.
That was a really good game.
Heartbreaking
49,
4 for
49,
Brian
Casey.
Fitting. Casey 9s winning by the slimmest of margins, literally just a matter of centimeters. 49-48 over Brian Fitting.
Yeah, Brian not off by much. He would have tied this game. It would have gone into sudden death, and it would have to go for a kill shot. But as it stands, Casey Laserwolf 9s comes out the victor, 49-48 over Brian Fitting. Just a tremendous job of throwing by both competitors. As you can see, just a couple 4s there for Casey, and 4 4s there for Brian.
So Brian Fitting dropping down to the B bracket where it's win or go home. Casey Laserwolf 9s has earned himself a spot in the championship. Let's take a look at the updated A bracket. There you see Casey 9s unbeaten. He's awaiting an opponent in the championship round.
Absolutely. We'll see who comes out the victor of the B bracket, but they'll be facing Casey Laserwolf 9s when they get out of that. But just a tremendous tournament by Casey so far.
Matt Bradshaw and Chris D'Onofrio, 2 of the competitors in the B bracket, looking to earn a spot in the championship. Here's D'Onofrio on going head-to-head with Bradshaw.
He's a heck of a competitor. So I've been chasing him since I've started. So hopefully this time is going to be my turn. Come out on top. But once again, I mean, he's on point. He's on point. So it's going to be a tough run.
Chris D'Onofrio knows he's got a giant standing in front of him where it's win or go home, Bobby.
Absolutely. Both these competitors are very familiar with each other. This is going to be a fantastic matchup.
Chris the Dagger D'Onofrio against Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. The number 1 and number 2 seeds here in this tournament going head-to-head in a win-or-go-home matchup.
That's going to be sad to see either of these competitors go home, but this should be a fantastic matchup. Both these competitors are very familiar with each other, and oh my gosh, just the absolute worst start for Matt Bradshaw. Wow.
You almost never see that, and on this stage.
Yeah, wow. So immediately Matt has some work to do. He's got to refocus. Really important for him to just forget about that throw.
Chris D'Onofrio couldn't have asked for a better start, a 3-point lead after a bullseye on his first throw. So Matt Bradshaw answers nicely, getting back into rhythm with a 5.
Getting back with a 5, but very close to a bullseye there for Matt. You had to get an extra little look at it, but it was ruled a 5. It did stand up, but still a 3-point deficit here.
Bullseye, Matt, 5.
So there's a bullseye from the Magic Man. That'll make it a 2-point game now.
Wow. So I just wonder what was happening with Matt in that first throw. It just seemed like he held on to that axe a little too long. Something we never see from him. I mean, he's a competitor that the 4 is a mistake, but we just never see 3s out of him. So
another nice throw from Bradshaw.
Even
and a better throw from D'Onofrio, his second bullseye of the match.
Well, as you can see, both these competitors are just extremely focused on the board. You know, they are friends. They are friendly competitors, part of the Axe family down here at Bustin Axe Throwing Range. But they definitely want to come out with a W here today.
Bullseye, Matt, 5.
Another bullseye from the Magic Man. He'll get a point back to make it a 2-point lead for Chris D'Onofrio after the first half.
So after that devastating throw in the first throw, I mean, Matt's still just down by 2, still within striking distance, can definitely come back in this thing.
But with a competitor like D'Onofrio, that 3 could just already be too much of a hole to dig out of.
In fact, it seems almost insurmountable, but looks like a 4 there for Chris, and could be a 5 that's popping through on that right-hand side. You can see Chris is just waiting with nervous anticipation on this ruling, knowing it's a big ruling.
This is huge. Every point just crucial right now for Matt Bradshaw. It's a 5, so now it's a 3-point lead for D'Onofrio. We saw Bradshaw go for a couple kill shots in his earlier loss. We'll see how soon he wants to get aggressive and go for kill shots again.
I think it's really going to be determining on how big of a lead Chris can get. That's a nice throw there by Matt. Looks like a bullseye. So, yeah, I think as long as they're within 2 coming down to the 8th throw, I think the 9th and 10th throws when you look at it, as long as this lead kind of stays where it's at.
And when you're throwing bullseyes like Bradshaw just did, you know you can chip away at it one throw at a time.
Yeah, once he gets, that deficit gets up to 3 again, we've seen Chris kind of consistently throw 5s, and it looks like that's a 5 and a 4 for Matt. But again, if Chris throws a 5 and Matt hits the bullseye or the kill shot, I mean, we're all tied up here.
Another huge ruling here.
Yeah.
Jenny's got the light on it to see if it's a 5.
She ruled it a 5. I think Chris is going to want to take a look at that a little bit.
Well, if I'm D'Onofrio, I don't need to take a look at that. I'll just take the 5
and get out of there.
Exactly. But these players, they're just so honorable, and they really respect the game and their competitors, and always nothing but honesty here from these competitors.
Absolutely. And I think Matt did just call for the kill shot and a nice bullseye there. No doubter from the dagger. So Matt's going to try to put some pressure on Chris here. Oh,
bullseye, Chris?
Just missed it.
Just missed it, so wow.
All right, last throw. Chris is up.
And he's going to go for it again. This is all just to make it look good.
So it looks like D'Onofrio.
Oh, it's going to go for it as well.
Going to go for it as well.
Some great sportsmanship. They kind of know this thing's over, so they're just going to do for the show. And the dagger.
What a finish for D'Onofrio. A kill shot to put a bow on this baby.
39 Matt, 56.
He's moving on. Bradshaw is heading home.
Wow, just a shocking turn of events. Obviously, Chris is an amazing competitor, and one of these players had to go home, and unfortunately it is Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw with an early exit. Definitely not what he wanted out of the tournament, but Chris advances in the B bracket and will face Brian Fitting, so that should be a great matchup as well.
And no real mistakes here from Chris D'Onofrio, nothing but bullseyes, 5s, and then, of course, the kill shot there on his final shot. That could be a real nice practice getting ready for another big kill shot here in the postseason. As for Bradshaw, it marks the end of the road. Here's the Magic Man with his thoughts on the season as a whole.
I think it was a fantastic league. I mean, we got some great people here. Love the Axe family here. Everybody's so nice and great. And yeah, a little disappointed with how things turned out, but it's a learning experience. So it's, again, like I said, journey over outcome. So you learn stuff along the way, and you take this, move on to the next league, the next tournament that I'll be going to the next couple weeks, and we'll see where it goes.
Nothing but first class is Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. Here is a look at the updated B bracket. Chris D'Onofrio is moving on. He's going to look to earn himself a spot in the championship with a win over Brian Fitting.
Yep, so Brian Fitting and Chris D'Onofrio will go head-to-head. Winner will advance back up to the A bracket. Loser will go home, so excited to see that matchup coming up.
We'll bring it to you straight ahead here on MC22. Stay tuned to Battle Axe. We're about to crown a champion. Welcome back to Battle Axe here on MC22 at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range in Dubuque, Iowa. We are about set to crown a champion. 3 competitors remain for one Battle Axe championship.
Yeah, it's going to be an incredible matchup here that we got coming up between Chris and Brian Fitting. Winner will go back up to the A bracket to face Casey Laserwolf Nines, waiting in the wings.
Here we go. Brian the Buzzsaw Fitting against Chris the Dagger D'Onofrio.
So a matchup we've seen during the league. As we know, though, the tournament is a different beast altogether, Joey. Loser goes home, winner advances. Let's get it on.
Indeed, Chris D'Onofrio starting things off with a nice throw there. That might be a bullseye.
Looks like a bullseye for Chris and a tough 4 for Brian Buzzsaw Fitting to get this thing started. Both competitors we've seen get locked in before. Chris was just a tremendous matchup versus Matt the Magic Man Bradshaw. No 4s whatsoever, all locked into 5s and 6s, looking to carry it over.
Yeah, he put up a round of 56 after capping things off with a kill shot.
Well, and that's the thing too, Joey. With going for that kill shot, he knows he has that throw in his back pocket, so something he can use if he needs to. But it's not his first throw at it, you know. So a nice 5 there by the Dagger. And a nice throw there by Buzzsaw. Looks like it could be a bullseye on the bottom part of that.
Bullseye, Chris.
We've got a couple of bullseyes here on the third throw from D'Onofrio and Fitting.
Nice.
These two heavyweights going at it hard here with a trip to the championship and the season on the line.
Yep, so it's just really important for both players to control that axe, stay within that 5 and 6 ring, eliminate those 4s, and wow. Axe getting away from Chris there a little bit.
Bullseye for Fitting.
Yeah. I think Chris is actually lucky that was called a 4 instead of a 3. So.
Or no, 5th throw. You're tied at 21.
All tied up, though. Going to the 5th throw.
Shot at a unicorn here for Brian Fitting on his 5th throw.
Nice. Brian had a unicorn earlier in the tournament. A little off the mark there. Looks like Chris is back on the mark at could be a bullseye. Ooh, so close, Joey. Wow.
It's just a 5 for D'Onofrio, just missing his third bullseye, what would have been his third bullseye of the matchup. We're tied up at 26 all after the first half.
Yeah, and as you can see, we've talked about it before with these high-level competitors. When they miss, they don't miss by much. That was very, very close to a bullseye there for the Dagger.
5 Brian, 5 Chris.
A couple of 5s here to start off the second half from D'Onofrio and Fitting. 31 all, 4 throws to go.
Well, and again, Joey, as you just saw with that last throw there, I mean, the tip of that axe was so close to that bullseye, which would be a huge momentum shift towards Chris. But as it stands, we're all tied up. Pressure on both players.
Bullseye, Chris.
Nice bullseye.
5 Brian.
Wow.
Chris the Dagger D'Onofrio with a big bullseye on his 7th throw to take a 1-point lead over Brian Fitting.
Yep, again, but Brian doing a great job. Just that 1-4 in his first throw. Still within 1 point of Chris here. Just doing a fantastic job of throwing.
The Dagger. Looks like he's got another bullseye.
4 Brian.
Fitting has to hope this one's a 5, but it's not. It's a 4.
Wow.
So D'Onofrio now has a 3-point lead with just 2 throws to go. Fitting had to see it with his own eyes.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't blame him. Points are very, very important at this stage in the game. If he can sneak out a 5, I'd challenge it myself. But as it stands, it's a 4. It looks like a 5 there for Chris. And a nice response there by Brian.
Boy, did Fitting need that one. A bullseye on his 9th throw. It makes it a 2-point lead.
Oh.
And Fitting's going to go for a kill shot here.
Wow.
Such respect for a guy like D'Onofrio that he's just saying my best chance is to get a kill shot.
I'm not going to count on you throwing a 4 and me throwing a bullseye. I'm going to go for it. So a 5 there, so he does have an opening here. What a huge throw.
A kill shot would win it. Oh, my goodness. And Brian Fitting lands a kill shot for the win.
Wow. Just when you think you saw everything, right, Joey?
Incredible. Brian Fitting with the shot of the tournament.
Wow.
He is all fired up. Fitting takes down D'Onofrio 54-53.
All fired up, and rightfully so. An 8 kill shot on the 10th throw to go up by 1 and secure the victory. Wow. I mean, it's always tough to see any competitor go, and obviously you don't want to exit that way, but just a tremendous, tremendous throw by Brian.
The matchup of the day thus far and the finish of the day, Brian Fitting wins a thriller to earn a spot in the championship. Here is Brian Fitting on his decision to go for the kill shot on his final throw.
Wasn't a decision. I'm down by 2. I don't have any choice. I've got to go up. In my mind, I'm like, I've got to hit this to even just get sudden death, because I was figuring he's going to hit at 6. I got hit at 8. We're tied, and I got to do it all over again. So it wasn't. I knew he wasn't going to throw a 4. He's going to get at least a 5, so I had to go up. So it was no decision.
Well, Brian Fitting with ice in his veins. As for D'Onofrio, it's a heartbreaking loss. Here's Chris on the loss.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Brian's a good thrower. It was his night tonight, and so he came out up on top. I did get some revenge on Matt Bradshaw though, which was nice to get that monkey off the back again, for sure. So come back, hit it hard, keep on practicing, and see what happens next season.
A tip of the cap to Chris D'Onofrio on a great season. We'll see him here on the next season of Battle Axe. And our championship match is all set, Bobby. Casey Laserwolf Nines will take on Brian Buzzsaw Fitting.
Yeah, Brian, the victor of the B bracket, working his way all the way back to the A bracket. A really nice showing here for Brian. And Casey, waiting in the wings. Should be a fantastic championship matchup.
We're going to bring you the championship right now. Casey Laserwolf Nines against Brian Buzzsaw Fitting.
So as it stands, Joey, it is a double elimination tournament. So if Casey does come out the victor in this initial championship matchup, he will be champion of Battle Axe. But if Brian wins, he forces another game.
Fitting will look to take down Nines in back-to-back matchups. Keep in mind, these two faced off not too long ago when Nines sent Fitting to the loser's bracket.
But boy, has a lot changed since that initial matchup. Brian come in with all the momentum here with that kill shot to take out Chris the Dagger D'Onofrio, and continuing that momentum with a nice 6 to start this match off.
Another bullseye for Brian. This guy is on another level right now.
Well, and again, like I said, you got to wonder how much that adrenaline rush, from hitting that kill shot, you were up against the wall, your bags are packed, you were going home, and then you hit it. Now you're kind of playing with house money a little bit.
Meanwhile, for Laser Wolf, it's just been such a long time since he's thrown an axe while he's been watching all of the action.
Yep.
He's off to a little slower start than he would have liked here in the championship.
Yeah, absolutely. These players, they do stay loose on the other ranges that they have here at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range, but you're not throwing in a game scenario, so it's a different feel for sure. Nice 5 there. Could be a bullseye if it's hitting on that left-hand side. Absolutely it is.
So this one just getting into the 5 ring for Brian Fitting.
All right.
It's a 2-point lead for Fitting.
Yeah, so Casey able to kind of eat away at that lead there a little bit. Every point very, very important here. Oh, and just off the mark there. He knows it too. That's a 4 and a 5 for Brian Fitting.
So after one half, Brian Fitting has a 3-point advantage He'll look to close it out here in the second half and force a winner-take-all second game here in the championship.
Absolutely. So, we've always talked about the pressure that you're putting on your opponent. It's always important to be the driver of the pressure. And Casey, although he has a loss to give to Brian, Brian's coming in with all the momentum. So it's kind of an interesting situation for both players to be in.
Certainly feels like Brian Fitting is driving the bus right now. We'll see if Casey Nines can grab a hold of that steering wheel.
That's a nice throw. Could be a bullseye there. Wow. You can just see the blade.
Bye, Brian.
Joey, it's ever so close. Wow.
So a couple of 5s from Fitting and 9s. These guys are such incredible talents. They're not missing by much.
Not missing by much. I mean, that thing was as close as you can get to a bullseye there for Laser Wolf. So, but it's called a 5. It stood up. He got a closer look at it. Just off the mark. A little too many 4s for Laser Wolf in this matchup than we've seen in other matches in this tournament so far from him.
Brian Fitting now has a 4-point advantage with just 2 throws to go. At some point, you would think Nines will go for the kill shot. He's not going to do it here on his 9th throw, though.
Yeah, it's a bit of an interesting call as we've seen. Oh, that's a nice bullseye there for Laser Wolf. So we'll see if...
Bullseye Casey, 5 Brian.
Yeah, if Brian were to throw like a 4 there, then of course, then you're really set up for a kill
Last
shot.
throw, Brian's up by 3.
I don't think there's any decision. You got to go for it. Yeah.
Casey Nines says, I'll go for it.
Yep. So if Brian hits a 5 and Casey lands the kill shot, then we're going to sudden death.
Same exact scenario that sent Fitting to this championship. We'll see if Nines can pull it off. Ooh.
It's just like that bullseye.
Wow.
Or the almost bullseye. Just,
0 Casey.
wow.
Ooh.
And as you can see just a little bit from that shot, it is just barely missing that kill shot.
Casey Nines
so that
missing
was
out
round
on
1.
a championship. That would have won it all for Nines. Instead, he's going to have to get back out there and play again.
Yeah, would have sent that to sudden death overtime, and then Casey could have walked away with the championship. But as it stands, they're going to a second deciding game for the championship. Just a tremendous job by Brian, though, throwing 5s and 6s at 1-4 on his 6th throw. Very little mistakes. In Casey, obviously, his score is going to be a little skewed going for the kill shot and missing it there. But a little too many 4s. He's got to correct that going into the next matchup if he wants to overtake Brian.
Brian Fitting just throwing with ice in his veins right now. He wins again to force a winner-take-all championship matchup with Casey Nines. Here's a look at the updated A bracket, Bobby.
Yeah, as we talked about, Brian coming in from the B bracket, really with a lot of momentum on that last throw to defeat Chris the Dagger D'Onofrio, rides that momentum into the matchup with Casey Laser Wolf Nines, comes out the victor, and again, now we're into a final winner-take-all matchup.
Couldn't ask for a better finish here on season number 3 of Battle Axe. One more match to go. We'll bring you the championship straight ahead here on MC22. Welcome back to Battle Axe here on MC22. We've got one matchup left to crown a champion here in our 3rd season, Bobby.
Yep, one match to decide it all, so this is going to be an exciting finish to the fall league here at the Bustin Axe Throwing Range, and I can't wait, Joey.
Neither can I. Let's get right to it.
Let's do it.
Our final matchup in the championship is Brian the Buzzsaw Fitting against Casey Laser Wolf Nines. Either way, we are going to have a first-time champion here.
Exactly, yeah. A surprising finish here to the league, no doubt. Everyone, I think, expected to see either one of Matt Bradshaw or Chris D'Onofrio, or possibly both, but each have been eliminated. Goes to show you that anything can happen here on Battle Axe.
That's why we play these postseason games, and that's why we look forward to this the entire season. What a start for Casey Laser Wolf Nines. It's a bullseye. He's got a 2-point lead.
Well, as we saw in that previous matchup with Casey, he wasn't off by much with that kill shot and a potential bullseye there. So starting to hone it in, and just announcer's jinx right on cue. There's a 4, but fortunately for Casey, it's a 4 for Brian as well.
No damage done there for Casey Laser Wolf Nines. Brian Fitting won the first matchup of this championship series, 51-43, to send it to a winner-take-all game number 2.
Yep, looks like a 5 there for Casey. And as you can see, Brian's just taking his time. He's being really calm and composed.
5
It's close there on the bottom side of that axe. Could have been a bullseye, but he's doing Brian's doing a really good job of just maintaining the focus and continuing his momentum.
Yeah, nice job there from Fitting to get a bullseye after a couple of 4s. Eric Schizel coming in to get a closer look at this throw here from Casey Nines, who's hoping it's a bullseye, but it's just off the mark for a 5.
Ruled a 5, so very close to a bullseye. Again, we've seen Casey be very close to all these bullseyes or kill shots. So worth a challenge. Looks like a 5 there for Brian. And Casey's just got to refocus. Oh, unfortunately, there's a 4 there.
Can't imagine just what
throw,
must be
you're
going
tied
through the minds of these players playing at this level on this big stage.
Yep, so Casey with an early lead. It's all but been erased here. Brian knotting it up going into the 5th throw. You can just see Casey just shaking his head. He can't find that consistent 5-6 throw that he had early in the tournament.
And these are guys that were so consistent throughout the entire season, but you get on this stage, you're playing for a championship in a winner-take-all match, and sometimes the nerves can really get to you.
Absolutely. Well, and another thing, too, Joey, is that it all kind of depends on when you get hot. You know, as we saw, Casey started off this tournament very hot, and Brian has just come on like a buzzsaw and really kind of just worked his way through the competition. But Casey able to pick up a point there on Brian's mistake to cut it to a 1-point lead for Fitting, so Laser Wolf's still in this thing.
Yeah, just a 1-point game with 4 throws to go. Nice throw there from Nines. Looks like it's a 5.
Looks like it's a 5. That looks like a 5 then for Brian as well.
Ooh, just missing a 5. It's a 4 for Nines, so Fitting extends the lead back to 2.
Wow, so that, again, an ever-so-close throw there by Casey Laser Wolf Nines. Just needs to focus up. That's looks like a no-doubter bullseye as well. And whatever you can do, I can do better. Right, Joey?
Brian Fitting with the answer. Another bullseye for Fitting and Nines.
All right, so I don't think we're in kill shot mode yet here for Casey Laser Wolf. We've seen Brian throw a couple 4s, so there's still a chance to gain a point. Looks like that could hopefully be a 5 if you're coming from Casey's perspective, and a bullseye there for Brian.
Wow, back-to-back bullseyes from Brian Fitting. He's got a 3-point lead with 1 throw to go. Casey's got to go for the kill shot here, right?
It's not deja vu. This is just the second matchup in the same position Casey's in, so he just barely missed the kill shot in the first matchup. Brian has to, and we're done.
That will do it. Brian Fitting throws a bullseye, Nines missing the kill shot, and Fitting is a Battle Axe champion.
Yeah, you kind of noticed there, Brian actually kind of threw his axe, not hurried up, but he kind of threw it knowing that he had to hit a bullseye. And if he hit a 5, then Casey can answer and tie it. But he shut the door on that thing real quick by throwing a bullseye.
What a throw from Brian Fitting, who lives up to his name, the Buzzsaw, just steamrolling through the competition here.
Yeah, just a tremendous tournament by both competitors. Great matchups going into it. And just congratulations to Brian on a fantastic league and league championship.
In his inaugural season, Brian Fitting is a Battle Axe champion. Here's Fitting on winning it all.
I'm super excited. I'm the only thing that's more exciting to me right now is to go home and give my little girl the medal that I won. She's only 5, and she pretends throws in the garage with me every night when I'm out there. She pretends, and I told her I was coming down here, and she's like, "Daddy, I'm gonna give you unicorn magic." And she goes, "That has wear your necklace, and it's got unicorn magic. You're gonna do good." So after that final shot, and I knew I'd won, that's the first thing I thought of was her unicorn magic. So it's pretty exciting when I go home and tell her she's got a medal to wear now. So.
Love that. Brian Fitting riding the unicorn magic all the way to a championship here on Battle Axe. For Bobby Bradford and our entire MC22 crew, thanks for watching. We'll see you next season here on Battle Axe.